Good morning, Trains Nation. Welcome to another live episode of Trains Video Newswire. Today is Friday, September 9th, 2016. We're glad you can join us. I'm Steve Sweeney.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I'm Jim Wren.
And we got a lot of news to talk about this week, Jim, don't we?
Plenty going on again. I didn't count up the Newswire items this morning.
I think we got about 44 out so far, and we've got a glut coming in. Not a glut. We got a surplus of big enterprise features coming. So we've got Bill Stevens, David Abada, Chase Gano, lots of good content coming for later.
So
today.
these are more exclusives that you'll only find here at Trains.
That's right. That's right.
So, any hints you can give us about the content?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one story that we're going to do, we haven't shown you yet the map, the extent of the Cajon Pass fire. So we've got a story from Justin Franzen that we're also publishing in our November issue about what has happened to the pass, what it looks like immediately after the fire, and where you're going to be able to go and where you won't be able to go for at least a year and maybe several more years. So that'll be an interesting story.
News you can use.
News you can use. And Bill Stevens is also going to tell us about intermodal traffic and why it is not meeting railroads' expectations and what they're telling us about it. So that's another big exclusive that we've got.
Nice.
So it's
nice.
a lot of good stuff out there.
Remember, you guys heard it here first.
That's right. Trains Newswire, where you come to know what's going on.
Before it happens.
Exactly. Well, I've got a lot of things here, but let's start with you, so I don't step over you, toe.
Well, I'm always looking for that next steam locomotive restoration project,
Yes.
and one of our long-term projects for 2017 is a special magazine about big steam locomotives that have been restored or are being restored, and so I was glad to see an SP Mikado down in San Antonio getting some TLC, which is great. There's a couple others out there that are like that one. There's one over in New Orleans, the 745, and then there's the 786 that's been under long-term restoration over at Austin for a long time, which is getting really close. So anyway, it's a great looking engine, and it'll be neat to see actually three of them all in that same general area that are back in restoration. So nice to see that. On the downside, that was one of my upside stories
Thumbs
this
up.
week. Thumbs up. One of the thumbs down was unfortunately traffic was off again in August for the umpteenth month in a row. Railroad traffic was off 6% according to the AAR figures, and we're just all waiting for that bump up to happen again. You and I were talking about China and coal earlier this week. And apparently the Chinese are buying more coal again, which is the good news, but then the bad news is they're getting it mostly out of Australia.
Yes.
Which is great for Australian trains. Our Aussie readers, we think the world of you guys, and
G'day, mate.
enjoy your trains, yes.
Yeah.
And have a good time with that, because
so
that's
good for
going to
them.
get more traffic for you guys, but probably not for our railroads
Yeah, not
anytime
for
soon.
us.
So,
But one good note, though, and this is another Bill Stevens story from this week, railroad employment is up a couple of percentage points.
and that was due to the grain
traffic.
Grain that's moving.
So-
Another record harvest this year
Yes.
in corn and soybeans, and it's going to take more of those covered hoppers to move it.
Yeah. So
More railroaders to move it.
some good news, some mixed
Some
news.
good news. Things are picking up.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a few little tidbits. There are coal mines in West Virginia. They're going to open up or reopen with a $90 million investment. So that was kind of neat off of the NS Pocahontas branch. So Chase Gano brought us that earlier this week. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to turn out to be. With coal being down across the board in the U.S., it seems kind of interesting, if not crazy, for someone to put that much money into a coal mine, but they think they can do it.
At some point, those things come around, though. They're all cyclical, as you
Yes.
know. And
Oh, yes.
gas prices go down, but then eventually they go back up. And
Right.
coal goes out of favor, and then it comes back into favor. But it's neat to see one in West Virginia getting some TLC.
Oh, I agree. Interesting thing, it's happening today, and we've covered it on Trains Newswire before, once this week and then a couple of weeks ago. Cincinnati, city of Cincinnati, is opening up its first streetcar line in 50 years, which is really neat. 3.6 miles downtown. It's connecting a whole bunch of neat neighborhoods with downtown, and we wish them well. So look forward to that story on Newswire, and hopefully we'll get one in Milwaukee eventually.
Eventually.
We'll see.
And happening this weekend only,
Yes.
if you're in the San Luis Valley of Colorado, be sure to go by the Potato Festival,
Yes.
where the San Luis Central is running passenger trains. That has got to be the most remote and far-flung railroad I've ever seen. I drove
Right.
across it a couple of months ago, and it is way out there.
It's pretty though, isn't it?
It's in the middle of the valley. You know, you're not in the mountains or
but
anything like that.
It's still nice. I mean, we drove through there on the Colorado tours last year. And it
If
was,
you like sagebrush, it's there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just love the fact that somebody would do a special train ride for the Potato Festival.
so would they be like the French Fried Express or?
I believe so. You know, that's one of Ed Burkhart's railroads, and
Yeah.
and so good on Ed for doing that.
No, I agree absolutely. A little bit of interesting, different news on the Washington D.C. front. Surface Transportation Board has granted extensions to Class 1 railroads to complain, to give their opinions on competitive switching. So competitive switching is where a shipper says, I'm not getting the right kind of service, or I'm getting poor service, and they appeal to the Surface Transportation Board to let someone else come in and switch on a competitor's railroad. It's a controversial thing, but something that happens more in Europe than it ever happens here. And they also granted an extension to the Chicago bypass proposal, construction company, to come up with more thoughts and more alternatives and more suggestions about how they could meet environmental standards and engineering standards in the proposal to go from Northwest Indiana all the way around through Rochelle and then up into Wisconsin. So some interesting stuff there to watch for. So we got those stories up this week too. One other story that I wanted to tell you about was that the B&O Railroad Museum is opening up an African American railroaders
that.
exhibit, which I think is
thought that was
kind of
cool.
cool.
That is cool.
And the story, the news release that the B&O Railroad Museum put out was that they're focusing on the high level of service quality and dedication that African American porters and attendants gave in trains. But I wanted to see if they're giving any due to track workers, maintenance workers, and construction gangs, because I'm sure there are a lot of heritage there too. So if you're in the Baltimore area, be sure to stop by and see that, and drop us a line at Newswire at trainsmag.com. We'd love to see any photos or any video, maybe, if you have that, and we'll be able to put that up on Newswire. So Jim, I think now it's time for trivia.
Let's answer last week's question.
Yes.
And tell people
Yes.
who got it right. Well, we know several people got it right.
Several people got it right. About 18 or 19 of you got it right. So the question was, what federal agency that has to do with the railroads has a website address change coming this week? And it's actually starting tonight and then going into Monday. And that was, do you have any guesses?
Let me think about this.
Yes.
STB?
It's the STB.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes.
Winner.
The Surface Transportation Board, commonly and affectionately known as the SURF Board.
Yes.
Yes, they went from being a sort of an appendage of the Department of Transportation, so they had www.stb.dot.gov, and now they're just stb.gov. So congratulations to the STB for making that change as an independent agency, and Martin Hendricks. Martin, you are our lucky, randomly chosen correct guesser.
You
Answerer.
get to spend a week at the STB. No, just kidding.
No. But you do get a copy of Locomotive 2016, now in-house at Trains Magazine.
Just came out fresh off the press.
Literally
yesterday.
Yesterday. And
Yes.
a special, now there's a photo on this side I'm not going to show you, but this is just the fold out on this side. Sorry about the advertisement. So it's
Not just the same old Locomotive year after year.
That's
We've
right.
jazzed it up one more time for you.
Yes.
So be sure and check it out.
Yeah. Just when you think we couldn't, we did.
Yes.
So, congratulations, Martin. Send me your mailing address to newswire@trainsmag.com, and I'll be sure to get you a copy of Locomotive out this week. And for this week's trivia, something really interesting. EMD, Electromotive, diesel, which is now Progress
I was
Rail.
going to say, which
Yeah, what is it now?
until
But
last
there's-
Thursday was
They're EMD locomotives
EMD.
flying under the Progress flag. God bless them.
Yes.
They are now putting new Tier 4 demonstrators in BNSF hands, or at least up, somewhere. You have to name us the city and the yard of where these demonstrators went to. So I'll repeat that again. EMD has new Tier 4 demonstrators going somewhere, and tell us the name of the city and the name of the yard that they're going to or have gone to. And it's in this week's Newswire, so you can go ahead and read it. And then put your answer in the comment sections below. Or you can send Jim your name and address with a $20 bill.
Send it to me.
Send it. Yeah, send it to him.
Send it to me.
I
I got to get money for that potato festival train ride.
airfare will be a little bit,
There
right?
will be a lot. Parachute into the San Luis Valley.
Exactly, exactly. And then we will randomly choose one of the correct answerers on next week's program, and you will
And
a
you'll
copy,
get-
and you'll get a copy of Locomotive 2016,
Get ready.
fresh
Get
from
ready.
trains. So that is good. Now a couple of notes. I won't be here next week. I'll be in Philadelphia.
You are going to be having a ball.
It's gonna be
He's
fun.
going to be at a PTC conference.
Yes, positive train control.
Learning all about that
Learn-
that wicked science.
Yes.
And
Yeah, but
and,
wicked
and a
good.
few
It's
other
wicked
things
good.
too.
Yeah.
So you're also visiting with our friends at SEPTA and our friends at Wilmington and Western.
Yes.
So good week for you, but
So if you see me out there, say hello.
say
I'll
hello
shake
to
your
Steve.
hand.
Yep. And
Don't hit me up for money because I won't have it.
right. And Brian and I will hold down the fort next week because David is also on assignment in
In where? Where'd you send him?
Switzerland. I know. I should be on taking this ride myself, but I didn't do
Switzerland.
it. I know. So
Yeah.
somebody's got to do it.
3 weeks.
I know. Two,
Is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Yeah.
2
I
weeks.
cut him off. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't go that far.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you did
Yeah.
that. All right. So for everyone at Trains Magazine, we're glad you could join us. Have an excellent weekend.
Take care, everybody. See you next week. Let's see. Welcome to the 2016 edition of Locomotive Magazine, our annual look at railroad motive power. Editor Greg McDonald has assembled a great package this year. The cover story follows Chicago's Metra Commuter Railroad and the locomotives that move 300,000 riders daily. Our annual Locomotive Roundup returns, looking at industry trends for new units and rebuilds. We'll also look at a rare diesel hydraulic restoration in California. The issue also includes a look at South Shore Freight by former Trains editor Kevin P. Keefe and railroading in Western Canada with senior graphic designer Drew Halverson. This issue has something for everyone: freight and passenger, Class 1 and short line railroads, and much more. Locomotive 2016 on sale September 27th.